I am really glad that we did not go to video 5 seconds ago.
I thought you stifled a sneeze.
No.
I was super impressed because
No.
I've never been able to do that. Really.
No, I'm absolutely not able to do that at all. I don't know how many humans actually are. You'd be in the circus if you were. No, what happened to me was we have had gnats in this place for 2 weeks now, maybe a little bit more. But like we're constantly fighting a battle. The exterminator's been here twice, treating the drains, and literally as the open was winding up, a gnat flew into my nose. And
you gave one of these.
Yeah, that's how I got it out, I guess.
Did you catch it?
I don't know if I caught it, but he's not in there now. Or if he is,
that'd be pretty awesome if you caught it.
He's just chilling. He just laid down. So, no, I don't think I caught it.
Yeah, if he got in there, he's kind of like a Mucinex villain now.
Yeah, that's exactly what he is.
Causing havoc in your nose.
Yeah, absolutely. So, actually.
Is he in your mouth?
He might have been.
Oh, no. Get the Topo Chico. That's their weakness.
God, that's terrible. Oh, I mean, the Topo Chico's fine, but the
gnat, yeah.
The gnat's terrible. I'm Paul. He's Steven. It's Wednesday. This is the triple option, and what an awful way to start a show. But literally, it was 5 seconds. Like, people have been watching me. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, my God, is Paul having a stroke? Which, I don't want anybody to think that's going on. So.
Yeah, you might have gone viral. So I guess you could argue it should have happened.
Look, one of my biggest fears in life is being the dude on the news when the lizard jumped on him and being a meme.
Yeah, I get
like
that.
I don't want to be a meme unless it's a cool meme. But I don't is this a look? Give me a one shot here, Jack. Or right here. Is this a face that is a cool meme? It's not. It's just not. I know
Somebody gift that, please.
Yeah, I mean it's not a. I mean this is the best I could be like, that's the best. You'd be like, oh look, kid, that's a shrug emoji guy. That's all I could do right there. I can't. Mm-hmm. I'm not I'm not gonna have like one of these cool Ryan Gosling gifts.
That's a fascinating thing about our world now is people get famous for nothing really.
Yeah.
Like they just do something weird and then, I mean, are we allowed to talk about the Hawk Tuah girl?
Yeah, we can absolutely talk about Hawk Tuah.
Okay, so Hawk Tuah girl she doesn't even do an interview. It's like a man on the street thing.
10 seconds.
10 seconds. Now she has a podcast.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, she actually seems like a funny person, so it kind of makes sense. Or this is a long time ago now, but you remember that lady that got a Chewbacca mask at Kohl's?
Yeah.
And just couldn't stop laughing?
Yeah.
And people were like, oh, the joy in this woman's heart.
Yeah.
And then, everybody just overdid it. Some college was like, you can have free tuition to our school. And then it was like, well, she's famous for nothing. She doesn't have a skill.
Yeah.
But suddenly she's in the public eye. So I get that. The idea of, you're a meme.
By the way, that's totally a Greendale thing to do from Community.
Yeah, for sure.
We've got the Chewbacca mask girl.
She's enrolling in Psychology 101 or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're paying for her class.
Yeah, she's perfect for the Greendale human beings. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So I get that fear. I have that too. Or just saying, we're in a world where we're talking all the time in broadcasting. I think about, I'll say something and I think, man, if somebody just clips that 2 or 3 seconds and just put it out online and it caught on somehow, then I sound like an idiot.
Well, so I'm very glad that this didn't happen. Now, I'm sure the footage exists somewhere in the archive at KWTX, but 10 years ago, maybe a little less, but I was doing, we were promoting an improv show, and I went to do the morning show with the rest of the group, and we were doing a game, really simple one, called What Are You Doing, which I hate. But I guess whoever the person was in front of me had me jumping up and down or skipping or something really dainty, because I guess it was funny. I mean, ostensibly it probably was pretty funny, but I had before, I told everybody listen, I don't want to be the lizard guy. Like, we don't want to be the lizard guy. Like, morning show news is where this shit happens, okay? Like, this is where it happens. Like, that is absolutely how you get there. I mean, I have nothing but respect for morning show news people because
tough gig, man.
Like, half of them don't get in to get the morning show. Like, some of them do. Some of them want to be like, oh my gosh, we're making English muffins this morning with our favorite English muffin.
Yep. You wake up at 3 a.m. and you just like read off old people's birthdays.
Yeah. I mean, some of them like that. Now, a lot of them get into the news because they want to report the news. Like, really serious news out of Sacramento right now is as Governor Newsom has signed a bill banning this, like that's what they want to report. And that's very noble, but it's also very noble. And I'll tell you, as hard as it is to get up in the morning and have to do news, but then intersperse that with like, Brad Pitt has a favorite pancake recipe. His 4th grade teacher from Missouri is here with us to share how she's the one who gave it to him. Like, that's really hard.
It is hard.
Yeah.
You're doing like the trivia question of the day or whatever. It's
a
tough deal. I remember that instance though, because I was Emory. I was an intern when you did this. And that day, I think you make the call, you did it solo. Mm-hmm. So you were talking about that.
Yeah.
You jumping up and down.
Yeah. I was like, I'm just terrified I'm going to be a meme. Mm-hmm. And I can only thank whatever friends I did have there at KWTX at the time that
they just
buried the footage. They
burned the tapes.
That buried the footage. Like all the behind the scenes stuff of Trump at The Apprentice. Like, it's just never going to come out.
It's gone.
It's just gone.
Magically deleted.
It's never going to come out. You're never going to see it no matter how bad you may want to. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I was terrified, like literally for a month. I just kept waiting for, and the thing is like most of my friends in the sports department would have totally like done it, but I guess they were just too busy to go back and get it. And then like once a week or two goes by, like
it's too late.
There's too much stuff. They've got hours and hours of programming that they have to go through and, like find it, like which day was it that they were there? Like, was it Wednesday? Was it Tuesday? Who knows, but I still live in fear of becoming a meme and not a cool one. I'm not going to be there's very little chance I'm going to be like that meme, right? I'm not going to be that guy. So
I get that, man. Yeah.
I don't want to be remembered that way.
You don't want to live in infamy as like a reaction gif.
No, I don't. Now, look, if there's money in it, I guess I couldn't say no to it. I'd have to lean in.
I don't think you can really monetize it, though. You just end up like as somebody's IP.
Yeah, just like I'd wind up, selling T-shirts with my likeness on it.
Yes.
Like, here we go. That would be the thing. Like, you can buy the T-shirt of the meme, and then, occasionally I'd be like walking through the mall and be like, hey, reaction guy. And then I'd be like, all right, yeah, sure.
Come take a picture. Yeah. I'll do the face.
I'd get on, I need to get on Cameo.
Yeah. Just giving stern looks to people or whatever.
Happy birthday, Duncan. Yay.
Well, I'm glad we got a solid business plan if it does happen now.
Yeah. Oh, you don't want to hear my sports talk, which is what my career is. You just want the meme.
Just want me to make the faces. Okay.
Okay, all right. We'll do birthday announcements for $25. Duncan, congratulations on your bat mitzvah or bar mitzvah. Baruch atah, Eloheinu. That's what I would do. So I want to talk Big 12 with you, Steven, today. We have a Cowboys topic we're going to get to before the wheel.
Okay.
And there are two things that happened this week that have given me great pause about the future and the present of the Cowboys. One of them is Derrick Henry at 30 years old had an 81-yard run. And that also gave me pause last week when he had like a 50-yard run. And so on and so on. He's leading the league in rushing. And then today, the Chiefs, the two-time defending Super Bowl champions, acquired DeAndre Hopkins from the Titans.
It can be done, yeah.
It can be done. And I'm just starting to wonder, like, what league are the Cowboys playing in compared to everybody else? Like, what rules does Jerry think applies to them that the Chiefs don't have to follow?
Right.
Like, what's that? That's my question. Like, what is over his head when you...
Well, and for an organization that he has said, like, we don't do rebuilding years, right? Like, that's not in our DNA. We're spending too many resources. It seems like they're firmly in the middle of one. But the problem is they've committed money to people, so they're not really rebuilding. They're just kind of in some weird flux right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's tough, Paul.
Yeah, very tough. Very, very tough. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But, Steven, you're a TCU fan. You are a TCU alum. You do a TCU podcast, Locked On Horned Frogs, which I will tell you, if I leave my YouTube logged in, is always the first thing that pops up after our show on my YouTube.
Oh, well, thank you, Paul.
Yes, it's right
Kind
there.
of you.
And I watch them because I feel like you're one of my proteges. I don't think I hope you don't slough at that term.
No, that's fine. That's accurate. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the people I'm very proud of. So I watch your podcast, and I'm curious in your thoughts on a 10-7 win, which is like not what TCU does.
No,
I mean, you'll take it.
Yeah,
you'll take
sure.
it. But 10-7 win, and then what that game means, if anything, to the future of this team.
Well, it was an impressive performance defensively. I mean, I think we can get the context out of the way here. Isaac Wilson and this Utah offense is struggling at the moment. Their OC, I guess, had a self-realization moment after they got shut down by TCU, or Kyle Whittingham had a conversation and they moved on from Andy Ludwig. So there's some transition happening there. I think they caught Utah at the right time. I don't know what it means moving forward. I don't think it means a whole lot as far as I don't feel coming away from this game they're going to go on some sort of run. I think defensively they have shown an ability, if a team struggles to pass the ball and they can commit, extra defenders in the run game without getting burned in the back end. And in the case of Utah and Stanford, like those two teams could not make them pay by having extra blitzers, having more people in the box, then they can have success. A more balanced offense, like I think they'll see this week against Texas Tech, has really kind of done what they wanted against the TCU defense so far this season. And offensively, I mean, the Kendall Browse experience is very interesting. You look at the numbers, like they had over 400 yards of total offense Saturday night. They had a fumble in the red zone. They had a blocked kick in the red zone where they didn't score a touchdown. They had another instance in the second half where they got inside the 10, couldn't come away with points. They don't run the ball well. Teams, I think good defenses are keen on the fact that, hey, we can, allocate more resources to the passing game, put pressure on Josh Hoover, and slow this down enough that they're not going to put together drives. They're also weirdly, one thing that this offense seems to miss that has been a calling card in his past, they don't get a lot of explosive plays. Like they're not taking deep shots down the field. They're not getting those pop plays in the passing game where guys are running wide open. So they're just kind of inefficient, even though they're able to move in between the 20s. So I still feel like this is a group that if they get to 6 or 7 wins, that's probably their ceiling. And you give the coaching staff another year to try to build on it. But I didn't come away like, oh, man, they've fixed a lot of their issues. I will say the effort was really good. And I didn't know what that was going to look like coming off a loss to Houston. And I at least got the impression that Sonny hasn't lost the locker room, which I think means something. And the thing about the Big 12 is it feels like every week there's a competitive one-score game. So you're going to have chances if you can get out of your own way.
Yeah. It's such a bizarre thing for TCU. Like none of this makes any sense to me because the Briles offense is built around the run, not the pass, and they can't run. And they probably do have a bit of a talent issue. I really like Jack Besh at wide receiver, but he's not a he's a chain mover, but he's not a
game breaker.
He's not a splash play guy. I think he's an NFL player. I really do. I just don't think he's going to be that guy who's, he's not Quentin Johnston, that guy. That's not who he is. And they don't have that guy. J.P. Richardson, again, a guy who can get you first downs, but, baby Bucky, he is not.
Right.
So, I know he is technically baby Bucky, but, he's not.
As a football player.
Yeah, as a football player. Bucky Richardson was, a battering ram and a big play guy. Mm-hmm. That's not what JP is at all. So, I don't know. It's interesting to see, and I think it's going to be interesting to watch, and watching through the lens of Baylor in particular, who has TCU next week. Baylor's schedule is the walk through, all these teams meeting each other, during the season of the bottom of the Big 12 is Baylor's schedule right now. And they have TCU next week. They have Oklahoma State this week. And who is going to come out of this little rung of mediocrity feeling good about themselves?
Right.
I think Baylor has the best shot to do that, and TCU probably right with them. I think when you look at Kansas, West Virginia, Houston, and Oklahoma State, probably not. Things have just not gone well at all at times for them this year, particularly in the moment. TCU has kind of traded wins and losses, which I think gives them a little bit more confidence than the rest of them. But looking at this bottom part of the Big 12, I wonder who's going to come out of this optimistic.
Let me ask you this, because I talked about the fumble in the red zone. When you look at teams that just continually beat themselves, because I think that's TCU, it's kind of Jekyll and Hyde every week. Whatever the opposite of complimentary football is what they play. So if there's a week where the defense is humming, then the offense struggles to score. When the offense has been on, the defense has struggled to hold up there in the bargain. But the turnovers and the penalties, I know players have to execute and make plays, but if it's a continual problem, how much of that do you typically put on a coaching staff? Because we're going on 7 weeks now of just boneheaded mistakes. And I know players have to make the plays, but I don't know what the disconnect is between fundamentally sound ball and then what they're putting out there on a weekly basis. And maybe it's just talent deficiency, but it doesn't look like a well-coached team right now.
No. What are your thoughts on the rest of that, the dregs, we'll call them right now, of the Big 12?
Baylor, I think, is in a good spot if they can kind of go on a run here. I was impressed with what they did against Tech, and I feel like, honestly, the Sawyer Robertson aspect of the season might be the biggest bright spot and reason for optimism. Kansas, that was a nice win, but I feel like it's not going to change sort of their outlook. Houston, I think, is dealing with a talent problem. And then TCU, I think they could individually. I think they could win every game left on their schedule. I don't feel like they can play at a high enough level to actually do it week to week. So I believe you're probably looking at a team that finishes around 500 when it's all said and done. But in Oklahoma State, I think this week will be telling in Waco. It feels like a group that is kind of on quit watch. You kind of gave everything you had. That BYU game sort of felt like all right, last stand. This is our opportunity to show that we still have a good team and we are a group that can turn this around. You had a new quarterback in Garrett Rangel that was playing well. He gets hurt. You lose on just an insane play on the road. And now it's okay, you kind of rallied the troops and did all this and you still didn't get the result you wanted. Are they able to look at that and say, we just got to keep, this was a better process and we just got to keep going down this path? Or they look at it and say, well, why the heck are we doing this if it's not going to lead to wins, right? Yeah. So that's the big crossroads they're at right now.
My big question about Mike Gundy is how much longer does he want to do this? Mm-hmm. Because he's very begrudgingly, he's gone along with it. He's not been full Dabo, where Dabo's going to fight his way through to the other side on it. And I think Dabo's plan, especially I heard him say some things today, is once it all gets fixed, I won't have to worry about the transfer portal because maybe it won't be such a big deal, because, we'll have contracts with these players. They won't want to leave, all those kind of things. And maybe he's right. But Mike Gundy, has, really kind of sounded the alarm about, hey, we lost these players in the portal because we didn't have the budget for them. You know, I'd like to, but it's just the nature of how it is. And it's kind of wild to me that, you know, there was a time where maybe you just go to T-Boone and be like, hey, we don't need any more facilities. We need these guys. And he's no longer with us, obviously, right. So they don't have that. A place like Oklahoma State is only going to have one T-Boone, unlike Texas, who has like an A&M and schools like that who have like all the rest of them. Mm-hmm. You know, so it's different. You know, Barry Switzer's even saying like, I don't know if we can compete with Texas NIL wise, which I find somewhat laughable. But I mean, maybe he's right. I mean, he would kind of know, right? Sure. You know, but.
The weird thing about Mike, too, is there was a time where Mike Gundy was – I mean, would you say he was a hot coach on the market, Paul, or was he just the guy that, like, he definitely loved a good interview? Like, he was kind of like, if you guys got some shrimp cocktail and I can go to a new city for a couple days or a day.
I think he and his agent knew how to make Oklahoma State scared because outside of him and, like, you know, a couple coaches in their history, everybody else is springboarded there. Mm-hmm. Les Miles, Jimmy Johnson, like, you know. Now, granted, he took over after Les Miles, and there hasn't been another coach there since then. But, you know, like before Les Miles, it was like either a failure of a coach or a guy who, like Jimmy Johnson, springboarded from Oklahoma State to Miami, and then springboarded from Miami to the Cowboys. You know, so like. I think that's what they're afraid of, and they finally just didn't have it, and they had a guy who wanted to be there, it's his alma mater. You know, he, you know, doesn't want to leave. Like, I have a feeling that Mike Gundy, like, doesn't like road trips because it's too far away from, you know, the Circle K he likes. You know, like
they don't have that crisp Coke that he likes out of the Polar Pop machine.
Yeah, like this is the one that's good. I like this is. You know, I'd love to go fishing on a different lake, but not all day. Like, you know, like all day is like, that's when I go to Lake Texoma. That's good to my place there. I like here. This is where I like. But he has very successfully, especially particularly when Arkansas is open, he's been able to use that for a raise a few times because Arkansas has been a revolving door of coaches who have failed. Mm-hmm. So because of that, Mike Gundy's been able to be like, that wouldn't be so bad, you know.
Call the hogs and such, you know.
They got hills, you know. It's a little greener over there. Heard the barbecue's pretty good. You know, going to give me free OAN on the cable, so I think I'm all right. Let's go do this. And then they're like, whoa. We'll give you OAN and Newsmax. And he's like, all right, SEC kiss my butt, right? So
that reminds me, the last time I was traveling somewhere, I saw a little hotel in North Texas that was advertising free HBO, and I was like, is that still moving the needle in this day and age? Are people still pulling off the road? Like, oh shoot!
Yeah. Oh, they had HBO. I don't have HBO at home.
Yeah, I don't have that.
So we better go there. Like every hotel has, although sometimes I'm surprised they don't have HBO. They have Showtime, and I'm like,
I know.
I mean, thanks for having a premium channel, but
still.
Also, I can stream, so I could. Like now, like TVs and this is total non sequitur, but I've done it when I've been on like longer vacations, and like we were in Palm Springs. You know, you're outside the heat, like you got to come in and do something. Like you got to rest because she just takes it out of you. So yeah, you know, Amanda and I would, you know, sit on the couch and, you know, stream Netflix to the TV. You just, you know, you put your phone to it, you connect your device, and
there you go.
You know, watch The Tourist. So
that's
what we did. Then, you know, got ready, went to dinner. It was nice. Yeah. I can't be at the pool 12 hours a day.
You got to take some breaks in between.
Got about in Palm Springs in the summertime, you got about 6 hours in your max before you're like, it is very hot. And
I'm a little dehydrated.
Yeah. I'm also a little dehydrated because this guy keeps coming around going, hey, buddy, another one of those? And I go, you know it, Rob. You know it. Oh, Rob.
Classic Rob.
Thanks, man.
Such a nice guy.
Every day he's coming around. And then at the end of this, he gives me a bill that I I'm pretty sure is $18 and not $180. I'm just, it's just hot and I'm a little drunk.
Rob, I thought we were cool. How did we get here, bud?
How many nachos can you eat, sir? What? I mean, I have my morning nachos and my mid-afternoon nachos and then my right before the room nachos.
Yeah.
What do we, I mean.
There's nothing weird about this.
There's nothing weird about it. I mean, yes, and there were some chicken fingers in the middle, but you have good chicken fingers. Rob,